don't care. Hey guys, I'm back live. I don't even know what I'm going to say right now. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like now just, like everyone's kind of forgetting why all of this is happening. Like, we're talking about, oh my God, now we need to have hand sanitizer at our home. If we have too many people in the house, we might get a $2,000 fine. And then all we have to do is rewind it a bit. Why is this happening? It's all based on this COVID-19 situation, which I don't want to call a hoax, but I want to call it a much fictitious, no, an overblown flu. That's what I call it. I don't think it's a scam. Well, I call it an overblown flu. Something they've blown way out of proportion for absolutely no reason. And all they're doing is ruining everyone's mental health based on completely nothing. Like I've said before, one person has died every single day from COVID-19 in the last, 6 months. And this is our pandemic. And then you can talk about different cases and different situations in other cities and countries, and we can go on and we can talk about this shit forever. But like at the end of the day, I want to focus on where I live. And where I live, the number state that one person is dying per day. But even if you break it down from that, who's dying is the older folks and shit like that. But meanwhile, we're just stuck in like almost like in a mental asylum, a kind of psychological prison where we can go pretty much wherever we want, but we're always entrapped in our minds because we're thinking about this stupid pandemic thing that they want us to focus on and have wanted us to focus on since March. And it's not going to end, and they don't want it to end still. And all it's doing is putting people against each other. Putting at the end of the day, whose fault is that? It's not really our fault, and it's not even our friends and family. Like, they fell for it. Yeah, they just don't understand what's going on. What can we do about that? But it's the media that has created this situation that has essentially wrecked relationships, destroyed families, into a massive psychological operation that how are we going to get out of when they keep pushing our buttons. Everywhere we turn, they're pushing our buttons, making us feel bad, pinning each other against each other, wanting us to rat out our neighbors and our friends, keeping us in fear. And it's having a toll. It's just having such a toll on people. Even if, you haven't lost your job and you're not divorced over this and you're not a drug addict, like, it's still stressing people out because they got to think about this shit every single day. And it's really unfair that just there's no honesty in the world to actually call this out for what it is and just call it out and say this is total BS, let's get on with our lives. But even if we want to do that, and I've tried to do that, it's just, how can you do that when you need other people in order to have a life? You need to go to the stores, you need your friends and family and restaurants or whatever. Like, how you can't really have your regular life back because you need to interact with other people, and they've taken that away from us. And I guess sure, if you want to go live out in the forest or something, then it wouldn't matter. But at the end of the day, most of us don't have that luxury just to pack up and just say, screw it, I am completely leaving my surroundings. We can't do that. A lot of people don't want to do it. It's a lot of work just to leave everything you've ever known for a different life. And it's just draining. It really is draining, and like, I don't really know when it's going to end. Like, it's just nuts. It's a really tough situation, and now we've got the news on and stuff. And I don't know. Who's watching anyways? Whoever's watching, say hi. I don't really know what else to say. I just wanted to get online here for a second because I don't know why. Is anyone watching? It says one person's watching. Does anybody want to say anything? Let me get my glasses. Is anybody doing anything tonight? What's everyone doing? Is everybody hosting a massive party with 200 people at their houses? Did you guys buy a gallon of sanitizer? And do you have all the checkpoints in your living room so you don't get shit by the cops? Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Oh my God. Whoa. So. You just kind of wonder and you think, like, this is just too much. It's too much stupidity. It's too much of everything. It's insane. It's just an unneeded stress that we don't need in our life. It's not something that we should be stressing out about, specifically here, when there's like one person dying a day. Every 24 hours, one person dies from COVID. Wow. Why can't they just say that on the news and just be cut and dry and give people some hope? Well, they don't want hope because, first of all, this is an agenda, and secondly, corporate news is a business, and they need people to watch their product, which is fear. Fear sells. Negativity sells. If they tell you everything's going to get back to normal and it's all over, then you're going to stop watching the news, right? But they don't talk about so many different aspects of this thing. How about all the non-social distancing that you see in the downtown east side? Has anyone died from being homeless on the downtown east side from COVID? No, they haven't died from that, but at least almost 200 people have died from fentanyl overdoses, maybe even more at this point. People who live and who are homeless in the downtown east side. They don't talk about that. And it's too bad because we just don't have large media crowds like global news does. So yeah, I go live, I get 2-3 people, and then another 50 watch it, whatever. If everyone does that, I guess we could put a hole in this. But like I said, there's other people who they think their news is telling them the truth, and that's the only thing they'll go by. So it's a tough battle because you're gonna have the divide. There's the people who understand what's going on, and more people are understanding what's going on every day. And there's other people who just don't want to get it, and they're stubborn. They will not believe it until they see it on the news, and that's never going to happen. They will never see this on the news, and they simply can't get it through their head. They'll never get it through their head, and hell will freeze over until the news tells us the truth. These people should be arrested. They should be in jail. Their organization should literally be shut down, and their buildings should be, like, destroyed. And I don't mean, like, I'm going to go and do anything. I'm just saying they should just clear these buildings of these corporations and just put in like a daycare or something, because they're not there to inform us about anything. It's all just crap. Like, we might as well be living in 1933 Nazi Germany, because the amount of propaganda that's being spewed Canada and the United States and across the world is unbelievable at this point. It's just, all they're doing, in my opinion, is they're just putting the squeeze on us psychologically, just making it so we can't even have a few minutes of peace in our lives. And yes, it's up to us if we want to actually watch the news. It's up to us if we want to talk about the news. All of us can ignore the news, but you do need to know what's going on up to a point. If you don't know what's going on, it can kind of backfire. And once you understand what's going on, then you have to react to it mentally and physically, right? And that's where the problem lies, because then you start getting into different mood swings. And if you post something on Facebook, people react to it, and then either it pisses you off or you're vindicated or whatever. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do? What are we going to do when winter comes and they start doing these nasty lockdowns based on such low numbers and stuff? Like, what are we going to do? Like, why are they doing this to us and just making us into like a form of prisoner in our own country, in our own homes? We're free to go wherever we want, basically, but at the end of the day, this is a psychological operation. So even if you're free to go wherever you want, they've got you locked up in your prison cell, which is your mind. And sure, you can interact with this in a lot of different ways, but when you get such this information just screws with your head. It makes things hard to enjoy. When it's like a cloud that looms over you constantly, and you even if it's sunny outside, you're having fun with your friends, you always know, don't forget about COVID-19, because it's right around the corner. Don't forget, you got to get home by a certain time or whatever. They don't have curfews now, but they might eventually. Who the hell knows? So it's crazy. And then you also have to think about what next. What are they going to do next? What are they going to talk about next? What laws are they going to have next? It kind of never seems to end. There's always something new that they can do to screw around with us, make our lives more difficult. So they got the masks. They're just going to keep making more places mandatory masks. But after that, then what? Well, then what? They're probably going to have lockdown 2.0, right? That's why I wouldn't recommend bringing your kids back to school, because who knows what the hell they could have. They could have an outbreak at your kid's school. Possibly your kids could get quarantined and this and that, right? And that's why you got to watch the news, because you need to know. It's like a chess game. You need to understand what's going on, so then you can react with the safest measures that you can for you and your family. If you don't know what's going on and you're still encapsulated into a city or a suburban lifestyle, then you need to know. If you're out in the middle of a farm and you don't interact with anybody, well, this thing barely even affects you at all, which is great. Which is great, right? But at the end of the day, we're still stuck in this stupid psychological operation. And some people think that this is going to end when Trump gets reelected. I'm like, I'm not so sure about that, because this is a bigger agenda than Trump. It's about the New World Order, wanting to chip everybody. So I'm not really sure how this ends with Trump. Like, even if you think it actually ends with Trump in November, on November 5th, you think this is all done then? You think the deep state is completely done? I don't think so, because there's a bigger agenda here. I'm sure they're pissed off at Trump, but there's more here than just Trump, in my opinion. I don't think this is gonna end in November. And all you have to do is just like, why would it end in November? Like, logically speaking, you have to ask yourself, why would it end in November? What makes you believe it will end in November when Trump gets reelected? Because Trump's already elected. He's here now, and this is continuing. So why would it end when he gets a second term? Why would things end then? I don't think they're going to end, because this is a bigger plan. And if Trump wanted to change anything, either he could have done it, he could have done it already right now, or he can't do it right now, and he can't do it later. Then what's going to change when he gets reelected? Nothing's going to change. So in my opinion, nothing is going to change in this whole situation. They are mad. The people in power are mad that Trump is in power. And they're satanic people. And this is part of their one world agenda, the New World Order, the Antichrist system, the whole thing. This is not going to end. There's no way it can end. It's not really meant to end. How can it end when there's much more at stake here? This is a worldwide situation. They're not just targeting the United States of America. They're targeting every single country on earth. And I just posted a video before that I created talking about the digital ID microchip, chip technology that Bill Gates is responsible for creating. This is the mark of the beast system talked about in the book of Revelations. So this is basically, like I said before, these are biblical times. These are world history. We're living in world history. It doesn't seem like that because we're in the middle of it. But if we all get through this, we're going to look back and say, holy shit, that was insane what we had to go through. And we're going to be going through this for a number of years. This is not going to end anytime soon. It's just the beginning of this whole shit show. It's scary. It's depressing to a point. It's more depressing for people who think this is real. Like, that's the worst part. If you think this is real and you don't even know where it's going to end up, you really are lost. At least we understand where it's going in the big picture. The small picture, we don't know the finite details, but at the end of the day, we know where it's supposed to lead us. So you have to get prepared spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, because they're going to keep tightening up the screws. They're going to keep doing the psychological operation with the news, telling us what we can and can't do, and the cases are coming up and this and that. They keep talking about these cases, a resurgence of cases. Meanwhile, like I've said, there's like 202 people dead in BC. This is in 7 months, roughly 7 months. So I did the calculations, like I said before, it's like about one person per day. How is that a pandemic? How is that like the biggest world-changing event in world history? In British Columbia, it's not. But they want to make it seem like it is. They just want you to believe it's something that it's not. And the more people that stand up and say this is bullshit and talk about this, the easier it is for other people to talk about it. That's why I come and do these videos, trying to give people hope, trying to make people understand, hey, I know you feel this way. I feel the same way too. That's why I'm posting these videos. If you start posting these videos, it doesn't have to be nearly as long. Just say, I hate this stuff, I'm sick of it, I just want things to go back to normal, I don't believe in it or whatever. It gives more people hope. We all need to stand up. These are the times in our lives when we need to stand up. If we don't do that, there's just no hope. We have to stand together or we will fall separately. And that's why I come on here and do these videos. Do you think I want to put my face out here and shit like that? Not really. I'd rather not, but I feel like it's my duty. Since I feel like I know what's going on, I feel that I have to explain and express how I feel. It's important to get your viewpoint out. Every person's voice is important to be heard. Every person's voice is important to be told. Tell your story to the world. Everybody wants to hear your story. Don't think that just because maybe you don't think you're a good speaker or whatever. I don't think I'm that great of a speaker. I don't really care. I just say what I feel, and whatever comes out, comes out. Who cares? I really don't give a shit at this point. Everyone deserves to be heard. It's affecting everybody. Look at it all. Look at us all. We're all scared. Everyone's walking around with masks and shit. Churches only are allowed to have 50 people. But you can have big marches downtown for Black Lives Matter and all this crap, and that's okay. 7,000 people, they don't say anything. Nothing wrong with that. It's crazy. It's just sad that, we have everything we need in our lives when it comes to our way of lives here in Canada. What we don't have is we don't have God. We don't have unity. We don't have the truth. And without that, we really don't have anything. Like right now what's happening, they're just destroying us mentally. They're ruining everything. Our poor kids, it just pisses me off that they've wrecked all these 7 months or whatever. I feel like I've lost 7 months of my life, and it's going to be like New Year's in 3 months. Are you kidding me? So what, September, October, November, December, 4 months. It's just, it's mind-boggling. I don't even know where I'm going with this video, whatever. But it's crazy, we're going to be, who's watching now? Oh. We're going to be in the new year in 4 months, December, Christmas and stuff like that. What kind of Christmas are we going to have this year? What kind of Christmas? We're not going to go to the malls. I'm not going to go wait in lineups at the stupid malls. You got to go into the mall, and then I got to wait in lineups to go into the stores and do all the whole thing. I'm not following any of this crap, this whole system of nonsense. I'll just give my kids some money or some crap. I don't want to deal with it. I just don't want to deal with all the stupidity. The only time I would go into Metrotown Mall is when I wear my hazmat suit and I film myself looking like a moron. I want to film it, and I want to see people's reactions when I walk into Metrotown with my hazmat suit, wearing my that anonymous mask that I have. That's the only time I'm going to walk into the mall. Besides that, I don't want to be near any malls. I don't even want to be near any people, because every time I see these people wearing masks, I get really upset. Sometimes I can deal with it, sometimes I can't, but I don't really have too much faith in humanity at this point. I thought a lot of people would have understood what was going on after so many months, but like David Icke said, he goes, there's going to be certain people who fall deeper into the trance, and there's going to be people who wake up from the trance. And that's what we're seeing now. You can see who's falling for the trance, who's in more of the trance, because they're wearing the masks everywhere. And if you're wearing a mask, stop doing that. It's really stupid, and you look like an idiot, and all you're doing is you're wrecking your future and your kids' future and your grandkids' future. If you don't have to wear a mask, don't wear it. Even if you have to say, you know what, I don't want to wear a mask. If they ask you to wear a mask at the store, just say no. Say no. Have some balls and stand up. Because if you don't, all you're doing is wrecking your life, your kids' life, your grandkids' life. Do you want your children and grandchildren growing up with this crap? We have to fight back. I've told you guys before, and I'll say it again. All we have to do is say no. It's not hard. It's not like we have to go out there and start fighting people physically. It might get to that point eventually. Who knows? But right now, just have a little bit of common sense and just fight back. Even if it feels a little bit, you don't want to do it, and it's a little bit odd and irritating. Just do it anyways. Once you do it a couple times, you feel stronger. You feel empowered because you're actually standing up for something you believe in. Every time you don't stand up for something you believe in, you feel more pathetic. You feel more like a loser. You don't feel yourself. You have to stand up for yourself any way you can. If you don't stand up for yourself, who the fuck's going to stand up for yourself? Right? Who's going to stand up for you if you don't do it? I can't stand up for you. You got to stand up for yourself. And I got to stand up for myself. And together, we can hopefully change this situation. I don't know. I'm just rambling. It's just tiring. Woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. I don't know why. Came downstairs and watched a bit of TV, maybe 20 minutes, and then I went back to bed and I woke up at 8 o'clock. But we really got to change things here because this will not change itself. The people in power are not going to relinquish power, and I just find it amazing that these people still think this is a real situation. It's not. It's just not. And where are we going to be in the winter months? Like right now it's sunny, we can go outside and stuff like that. Maybe in winter it'll be better because then you won't have to see anybody. We'll just be stuck inside watching TV, and it's going to be rainy, which maybe it's better. I don't have to see all the mask holes everywhere. I don't know. Because who's watching anyway? Is it Angela? Say something. Number one person watching. Angela, say something. How's Vince doing? It's crazy. Oh my God. It's nuts. It's nuts. It's nuts. Like, I've expressed so much about this stuff after a while. I don't think I could be a journalist on TV talking about this nonstop all day, actually believing this lie. They've got to be some of the most pathetic human beings on planet Earth, besides the politicians and the New World Order puppets. But for you to be a journalist and go on TV every night for the last 6 months and talk about this, and you should be realizing by now that this whole thing is nothing more than a hoax. And if you don't, then you're pretty pathetic too. So I don't know, like I always wonder about those journalists. Are they on board with this? Or are they just pretending to be on board? Like, what's their plan? These people, like, what do they think about all this stuff? And everyone's scared to lose their jobs, so a lot of people just don't speak up. And this is the whole reason why we're in this problem to begin with. People never stood up for abortions. People never stood up when they implemented the income tax in 1913 that's been around for 113 years, stolen millions of dollars from people's wallets. People never stood up for anything. And the longer you sit down and you let things happen, the worse it is. This is why we're in this situation. It's because of us. It's because of our parents and grandparents. God rest all their souls and stuff. But really, they didn't stand up, and now we're taking the brunt of all this stuff. Like, there's just so much stuff piled onto our lives. And now we're almost at like some kind of end game now. Like in Australia, they're talking about mandatory vaccinations and shit like that. It's insane. And eventually, there's always a line in the sand. But I don't know if we've actually reached that line in the sand yet. That line in the sand will come. But have we reached that line in the sand yet? Oops, 1 second here. I don't know if we've reached that line in the sand yet. We might, but we might not. There's always a tipping point. Is that it though? Is this it? I'm not sure. Got friends coming over. Don't tell anybody I have some friends over. Don't call Farnsworth, you dirty little scumbags watching me. Anyways, maybe I'll go on later, maybe not. But where is the line in the sand? When are people going to say enough's enough? You guys still want to go through more of this bullshit? You want to keep playing this fake game? If you do, keep quiet. If you want it to stop, it's time to stand up now, and it's time to have your voices heard now.